Title: A fake marriage to the alien queen ended the war, but now she wants it to be real. Part 1 minus 950 words war between Earth and the Ardian Empire had lasted for 16 long years. Ships had burned in orbit, colonies had fallen, and billions had suffered. Ryan Cole never thought he'd be the one to end it, not as a soldier, but as a diplomat. He was only 28, quiet, observant, and not the type people noticed. But now, the peace of the galaxy rested on his shoulders. He stood on the bridge of the human envoy ship, the Silver Dawn, staring out at the approaching alien flagship. It was shaped like a crescent moon, dark and elegant, with blue pulses of energy humming along its sides. "We're close," said Maya, the ship's pilot, tapping controls with tense fingers. "You sure about this plan of yours?" Ryan nodded. Slowly, "It's not a plan. It's the last option. If this fails, the next step is full invasion." Maya sighed. "Let's hope the queen likes fake weddings." The Ardian queen, Salara, was known across the stars. Powerful, beautiful, and ruthless, she had never been seen with a mate. Many believed she saw love as weakness. Others thought she just hadn't found anyone strong enough to match her. She ruled the Ardian Empire with calm precision, her word carrying more weight than the entire Council of Elders combined. When Ryan stepped onto the Ardian flagship, he was met by silence. Tall warriors with smooth silver skin and glowing eyes watched him from every corner. No weapons, just stares. He kept walking, escorted down a long hallway that felt like walking inside a glowing crystal cave. Then he saw her. Queen Salara sat on a raised platform, wearing dark robes with gold trim. Her eyes were violet and sharp. Her long black hair flowed like water down her back. She didn't smile. She didn't blink. "Human," she said. "Speak," Ryan bowed. "Your Highness, I come with a proposal. One that can end this war with no more blood." The room shifted. A few gasps, a whisper. Salara's eyes narrowed. "Go on." "Your people value symbolism," he began. "Ours value agreements. But both sides want peace. I suggest we give them what they want together." She tilted her head. "What kind of agreement?" Ryan took a breath. "A symbolic union. A marriage. Between you and me. Not a real bond. Only political. Public. It shows unity to both sides. Soldiers will stand down. The war ends." Silence. A thick, heavy silence. And then Salara stood. She walked toward him slowly. Her presence filled the room like a storm. Ryan held his ground. He didn't flinch, didn't look away. When she stood inches from him, she spoke softly. "A fake marriage," she said. "You offer me a lie. I offer you peace." He replied. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, in a voice just above a whisper, she said, "I accept." The news spread in minutes. The galaxy exploded in shock. Humans and Ardians alike watched the footage of the queen and the human shaking hands. No one expected it. Some called it a trick. Others called it genius. Leaders across both sides ordered their fleets to stand down. The war, for now, was over. A grand ceremony was planned within days. On the neutral station orbiting Zela's star, delegates, nobles, and military officers gathered to witness the first step toward peace. The ceremony was broadcast live to every major system. Ryan stood at the altar in a black formal suit. Salara wore traditional Ardian armor, polished and gleaming, mixed with royal blue robes. Their vows were simple, practiced, no real emotion, just words. They touched hands as the final gesture. Applause followed, cameras flashed, but behind their eyes, the truth was clear. This was all for show. After the ceremony, they sat together for interviews, smiling, nodding, repeating the message of unity. When the lights turned off and the cameras left, silence returned between them. In their shared quarters, Ryan looked out at the stars. "We pulled it off," he said. Salara poured herself a drink. For now, he turned to face her. "Was this hard for you?" She didn't answer right away. Then, with a calm voice, she said, "I do not trust humans, but I trust my people's need for peace more." "Same here," he replied. They sat in silence again. not as enemies, not as lovers. Just two people holding up a galaxy too tired for more war. Outside the window, ships once meant for destruction floated peacefully side by side. The war had ended because of a lie. Neither of them knew yet that it was about to become real. Very real. And that, somehow, would change everything. The peace that followed the wedding was quiet but fragile. Human and Ardian ships stopped firing, and the war zones fell silent. Leaders on both sides watched the broadcast again and again, replaying the moment Queen Salara and Ryan joined hands. Some saw it as a miracle. Others called it a trick. On the surface, the galaxy calmed, but deep inside, not everyone accepted the union. Some soldiers had lost friends and family. They didn't care for peace, and others believed Salara had gone soft. While some humans thought Ryan had been fooled by an alien beauty. None of that mattered to Ryan. He was too busy trying to survive his new life. He now lived in the Ardian royal palace on their capital planet, Elzora. The palace was carved from living crystal, glowing softly with colors that shifted with the queen's mood. Everything was quiet, clean, and graceful, very different from his old life back on Earth. He didn't have guards, but he wasn't free either. Every step he took, someone watched. He couldn't sneeze without it being recorded. His only peaceful moments were the rare hours he shared with Salara. They had to tour the nearby colonies together, showing the public that peace was working. Their ship, the Unity Star, traveled between Ardian and human worlds with media crews, recording every moment. On the third stop, a mining colony on Zethus, the air was hot and thick with dust. Miners lined up to see them. Salara stood tall in her armor, speaking calm words of peace. Ryan stood beside her, sweating in his suit and trying not to cough from the heat. "We appreciate your hard work," Ryan said, reading the short speech. Written for him. The miners clapped weakly. A few smiled. One threw up a peace sign. Salara noticed. "You didn't say the line about rebuilding," she whispered as they stepped down from the stage. "Sorry," Ryan said. "The heat scrambled my brain." She raised an eyebrow. "You're weak with heat." He smiled a little. "And you're good at reminding me." To his surprise, her lips curved slightly. Not a full smile, but it was the first real one he'd seen from her. Later, inside the ship, they sat in the private lounge. Ryan held a glass of Ardian water, which shimmered with tiny silver bubbles. "I never asked," Ryan said. "Did you ever think about marrying someone before all this?" Salara stared at the glass in her hands. "I had suitors, warriors, nobles, scientists. I refused them all. Why? They wanted the crown, not the person." Ryan leaned back, thinking. "So now you have both fake husband, real crown." She looked at him. "And what do you want?" He paused. "I want peace, and to stop being watched every minute. I want a nap without cameras in my face." That made her laugh, really laugh. Not a sharp or cold sound, but a warm, quick laugh that disappeared too fast. It caught him off guard. "You are strange," she said. "You're not so normal either," he replied. The next day, they landed on a human space station where the human crowd cheered loudly. Banners hung everywhere, reading unity through strength. And together toward peace, they walked through the halls, waving and shaking hands. People wanted pictures. Salara stayed still and quiet, unsure how to respond to so much sudden affection. Ryan noticed. He leaned in and whispered, "They're not trying to trap you. Just let them see your calm side." Salara nodded, taking his advice. She began to bow slightly to each person who greeted her, and the crowd responded with joy. She was learning. So was he. But peace never comes without shadows. Back in their quarters, a secret message waited for Salara. She opened the datapad. Reading quickly, her face went still. Ryan saw it. "What is it?" "There was an attack," she said softly, "on a border patrol. Ardian ships destroyed. By humans? The attackers wore human signals, but the evidence fields are false." They stared at each other. "Someone wanted the peace to break. We need to go there," Ryan said. "If we don't, people will assume the worst." Salara agreed. They boarded a fast Royal Scout ship, leaving the cameras behind. Just the two of them and a quiet pilot named Lorik. The scout sped through jump points until it reached the scene. Wreckage floated in space. Black scars burned across the metal. Ryan stared at it in silence. This was meant to frame someone. He said, "Yes," Salara replied. "They want us to fight again." As they scanned the area, Lorik found something fragments from a third ship. It didn't belong to either. Side, pirates, Ryan asked. Salara frowned. No, someone powerful. They stored the evidence and flew back. During the journey, the quiet between them felt different. Not cold, not stiff, more like comfort. Salara sat close to Ryan, closer than before. "You protected me from this war," she said quietly. Even with lies, he looked into her eyes. "We both did." She placed a hand on his arm. "The marriage may have started as fake, but I don't think it's fake anymore." Ryan didn't answer right away, but he didn't pull away either. Outside, the stars kept moving, quiet and endless. The return to El Zora was quiet. No celebration, no cameras, no guards waiting with questions. Just the soft sound of engines and the shared silence between two people who were once strangers. Ryan sat in the lounge, staring at the evidence from the attack. The broken fragments clearly didn't belong to human or Ardian ships. The shape, the alloy, even the energy signature, everything pointed to a third group. But who and why? Salara stood nearby, arms crossed, her eyes fixed on the stars. She didn't speak for a long time. "They want to break us apart," she said finally. "Or make the galaxy think this peace is a joke." Ryan added. Salara nodded slowly. "If our people think the marriage was only a trick, they'll return to war." Ryan looked at her, unsure. "Wasn't it a trick, though?" Salara turned. "It began that way. Not anymore." He felt the words sink deep. Her voice was steady, but something soft stirred behind it, in her eyes. He saw more than a queen. He saw a woman trying to carry an empire while learning to feel. "Again, Salara," he said quietly, "I never expected this to matter. To you, to me. But now I don't know what's real anymore." She stepped closer. "Then let's find out together." Before he could respond, Lorik, the pilot, stepped into the room. "Your Majesties, the Council has called for an emergency meeting. They've seen the attack reports. They move fast." Salara muttered. "They're afraid," Ryan said. "Afraid this peace will fall apart." They reached the council chamber within the hour. Salara wore her royal armor, the same one she wore during the wedding. Ryan stood beside her, dressed in black with the human seal pinned to his chest. Inside, the Ardian elders sat on curved thrones made of glowing crystal. Across from them, human envoys had arrived by special request. The chamber buzzed with tension. Elder Vor stood. "We have seen the destruction near the border. Many claim it was the work of humans. False," Salara said sharply. "I have evidence showing a third party was involved." "Evidence can be faked," said a human officer. "How can we be sure this isn't another trick from the Ardians?" Before Salara could respond, Ryan stepped forward. "Enough," he said firmly. "This marriage, this peace, it's not a game. We came together to stop the blood. We risked everything. And now, someone wants to undo it." He pulled out the fragments and displayed them through a holo projector. Strange designs, unknown symbols, and energy traces filled the room. "These don't belong to us," Ryan said. "They don't belong to them. This is someone else." The room fell quiet. Elder Vor spoke again. "Then we must find who is behind." This Salara nodded. "And we must remain united until we do." The council gave their support, but not without doubt. Peace would hold but barely. Back in the palace, Ryan sat on a bench under the night sky. The gardens were quiet, and the stars above looked like silver dust. Salara joined him, sitting beside him in silence. She didn't wear her armor now, only soft robes, dark and simple. "We need to do more than just survive meetings," she said. "What do you mean?" he asked. "We must show them this is real. Not just the peace, us." Ryan blinked. "You mean?" "Yes," she said softly. "Make the bond real. Not political. Not symbolic. A real joining." His heart skipped. "You don't have to say yes now," she added quickly. "But I won't hide my feelings. Not anymore." Ryan looked at her, and something shifted inside him. Not fear, not doubt, but warmth. I don't know what's happening between us, he said. But it doesn't feel fake anymore. She reached for his hand, then let it be real. They sat there, fingers touching gently, letting the stars watch over them. Later that night, someone broke into the palace systems. A shadow figure, unseen and silent, moved through the archives and stole records about the attack. They erased files, jammed transmissions, and disappeared without leaving a trace. The next morning, Salara received the news. They want us blind, she said. But why steal the files? Ryan asked. They already attacked. What are they? Hiding something bigger, she said. Something coming. They stood side by side, not just as symbols of peace, but now as something more. And whatever was hiding in the dark corners of the galaxy, it was about to learn that fake love, turned real, could become the strongest weapon of all. The days after the data theft felt heavy. Every corner of the palace buzzed with tension. The guards doubled. The royal systems were checked and rechecked. But there was no trace of the intruder. Not even the best Ardian trackers could find a clue. Salara sat in the strategy room, her eyes fixed on the empty data logs beside her. Ryan leaned forward, studying the holograms. They deleted everything about the unknown ship fragments, he said. They don't want anyone to trace it. Salara nodded. They planned this from the start. Frame the humans, break the peace, and now erase the truth. But who would even gain from another war? He asked. Someone hiding in them. Shadows, she answered. Someone powerful. They sat in silence, thinking. Outside the tall crystal windows, the sky of Elzora shimmered in shades of blue and purple. Ryan finally spoke. Then let's bring the truth back. If they deleted our evidence, we'll get new proof. How? Salara asked. We go back to the wreckage, he said. Not with a royal ship, not with guards or media. Just us, quietly. Salara considered it. It's dangerous. So is letting this piece fall apart, Ryan replied. She gave a slow nod. Then we leave tonight, under the cover of night. They took a small scout vessel, not registered to the palace. Only Lorik, the loyal pilot, knew. Ryan and Salara changed into travel gear, no robes, no armor. Just dark clothes and hidden tools. As the stars sped past their window, Ryan sat across from Salara in the small cabin. Strange, he said. How? Quickly things change. I was just a diplomat reading speeches. Now I'm sneaking through space with an alien queen. You still read your speeches like a nervous bird, she said with a hint of a smile. And you still scare most of your council just by walking in. They both laughed quietly. It felt real, easy, warm. They arrived at the wreckage site after the jumps. The debris still floated silently, untouched. Salara activated the scanners. Ryan put on his suit and opened the outer hatch. They floated outside, carefully collecting new samples. Salara's suit lights glowed softly as she moved between the broken hulls. Ryan scanned an odd panel with strange writing on it. This wasn't built by any known empire, he said. In this writing, it's like a mix of old Earth and ancient Ardian symbols. Salara moved closer. They've been watching us both for a long time, learning from us. And now they want us to destroy each other, Ryan added. Just then, a red light flashed in Ryan's visor. Motion detected, the system said. We're not alone, he said sharply. A cloaked ship shimmered into view behind them, small, fast, and armed. Get back to the ship, Salara shouted. They flew back quickly, dodging a sudden burst of energy fire. Lorik lifted off as soon as they sealed the hatch. Hang on, he shouted as the ship rocked. Enemy fire chased them through the debris field. Salara manned the rear weapons while Ryan stayed on comms, trying to scramble their trail. They're trying to erase us too, he said. Salara single quotes, S eyes narrowed. They won't succeed. She fired a blast that hit the enemy ship's wing. Sparks exploded. The enemy pulled back, cloaking again. We won't outrun them for long, Lorik warned. Then we hide, Salara said. What? Ryan blinked. I know a place, she said. An old royal base, buried in a dead moon. They'll never find us there. They jumped into warp and vanished just as the cloaked ship returned. The dead moon was cold and silent. No light, no sound. Solara guided the ship into a hidden hangar, covered by rock and dust. It sealed behind them. Inside the base, lights flickered slowly, old metal walls, dust-covered panels, and a quiet stillness greeted them. No one's been here in years, Ryan whispered. It was my mother's, Solara said softly. She used it during the First Ardian War. Only I know it still exists. They unpacked the new samples. Ryan placed the strange panel on a scanner. As the machine worked, Solara turned to him. You could have stayed behind. You didn't have to come. I wanted to, he said. Because of the mission. He paused, then shook his head. Because of you. Her eyes softened. This marriage. You still see it as fake. Not anymore, he said. I think somewhere between the speeches and the danger, I started caring. She stepped closer. So did I. They stood in the quiet, close enough to hear each other's breath. Ryan reached out and gently held her hand. No cameras, no advisors, no more. Just them. A beat pulled them back. The skin finished. The writing on the panel now glowed in translation. Phase 1 complete. Human-Ardian conflict delayed. Prepare Phase 2. Control both. Solara stepped back. They want to take over. By making us destroy ourselves first, Ryan said. Now they had proof again, but something worse too. The enemy didn't want just war. They wanted everything. And the only way to stop them was to fight side by side, as more than a symbol. As partners for real. The message on the alien panel stayed on the screen, glowing faintly in the dim light of the hidden base. Ryan stared at the words, his chest tight. Phase 2. Control both. He didn't want to believe it, but now there was no doubt. Someone had planned all of this. The war, the peace. Even the marriage might have been part of a larger plan. Salara stepped back from the scanner, her face unreadable. We're being used, she said quietly. This was never about human versus Ardian. It was about controlling us both. Ryan rubbed his forehead. And now that peace is holding, they're moving to the next step. Unless we stop them first, she replied. They stayed in the quiet base, hidden under the dead moon, while Lorik worked on decoding the full message. He pulled up more lines of code from the alien panel, revealing a rough map. There's a signal origin, Lorik said, pointing to a system near the galactic edge. Dead space. No colonies. No patrol routes. The perfect place to hide. Ryan muttered. Salara placed her hand on the scanner. We go there. Double quotes. Ryan turned. Are you sure? It could be a trap. Everything we've done since the wedding has been walking into traps, she said. But now we know who's pulling the strings. Ryan gave a half smile. Then let's spring this one together. They left the moon base hours later, flying low and silent through space. The ship's stealth systems held strong. Solara sat beside Ryan, their hands brushing now and then when the ship hit turbulence. Neither pulled away. You once said the marriage was just a symbol, Ryan said softly. Do you still believe that? Solara looked at him. No, I believe it's a beginning. They arrived at the edge of the system. The space there was dark and full of old wreckage, broken satellites, dead probes, forgotten machines from lost wars. But deep inside the shadows, they found a massive hidden station built into an asteroid, cloaked and powered by stolen tech. The station looked like a spider's nest, with long black arms reaching out, sucking energy from nearby debris. That's where the signal came from, Lorik confirmed. Any life signs? Ryan asked. A few. Small crew. Maybe machines. Solara stood. We go in. No weapons drawn. We need answers, not more fighting. They suited up and approached in a small landing pod. The station allowed docking. No resistance. Inside. The air was dry and cold. The halls were dark. Walls lined with metal panels showing languages from multiple races, human, Ardian, and others. Someone had been collecting tech and knowledge. For years. This place is old, Ryan whispered. Like pre-war old. They found a central control room. Lights flickered on as they entered. A large screen powered up and displayed a message. Welcome back, Observer Unit. Solara narrowed her eyes. Observer Unit? Suddenly, a voice spoke from the system. "You are not authorized. Explain your presence. We found your signal," Ryan replied. "We know what you've been doing. Then you are a threat." The voice said calmly, "Phase 2 must proceed." "Who are you?" Salara demanded. A small machine unfolded from the wall. Spider-like, with a smooth metallic body and glowing blue eyes, it walked forward and spoke again. "I am Unit 7, built to monitor galactic species. Our creators left this galaxy long ago. We remained to do what?" Ryan asked. "To bring order. Your species, both human and Ardian, are unstable. War proves it. Peace is an illusion. We guide events to shape behavior. You caused the war," Salara said. "We allowed it, then offered peace through your union. Control through symbols." Ryan's hands clenched. "You used us. You were effective symbols." The machine said coldly, "But now your bond has grown beyond control. Emotional, unpredictable. That is not acceptable." Suddenly, alarms blared. "What's that?" Ryan asked. Lorik's voice came through the comms. "Enemy drones powering up all over the station. They know we're a threat. Run," Salara said. "Now." They raced back to the pod, dodging defense drones that dropped from the ceiling. Ryan fired a small pulse weapon he had hidden in his suit, blasting one out of the air. Salara sliced through another with an energy blade hidden in her wrist guard. They reached the pod and launched. Behind them, the station began to power up massive signal arrays. "They're sending the next phase order," Lorik said. "This is it? They're going to start chaos everywhere?" "Not if we warn everyone first," Ryan said. "Send the broadcast, all of it, the station's location, the recordings, the truth." Lorik nodded and tapped the controls. The truth spread fast across Ardian cities, through human fleets, even to neutral systems. The recordings of the machine's voice, the plan to control the galaxy, and the proof that both sides had been played stirred anger, but not at each other. For the first time, Ardians and humans were united in their rage against something else. On the return trip, Salara leaned against Ryan in the quiet cabin. "They thought love made us weak," she said. "But it made us stronger," he replied. She smiled. "Then let's make it real when this is over. No more fake titles, no more pretending." Ryan agreed, holding her hand tight. They didn't know what war was coming, but this time, they would face it together, not as a symbol, but as something real. Ryan and Salara's broadcast spread faster than light. Every major station, council, and fleet command saw the proof. The recordings of the machine's voice, the one calmly admitting it had pushed both humans and Ardians into war, sent waves of anger and fear across all systems. People were shocked, betrayed, but for once, not by each other. On Earth, generals who once distrusted the Ardians now stood beside them in meetings. On Elzora, Ardian warriors trained beside human Marines. The enemy wasn't a species anymore, it was something else, something hidden, something artificial. The machines had controlled wars. Now, everyone agreed it was time to shut them down. Salara stood before the Allied Council, her presence strong and calm. Beside her, Ryan held a small data device containing everything they had recovered. "We were enemies," Salara said. "We were tricked. Now, we must finish what they started together." Cheers broke out. Old barriers fell. A new fleet was formed, a joint force made of humans, Ardians, and even other neutral species who had once watched from afar. They named the fleet Unity Blade. Salara was chosen to lead it. Ryan, by her side, would serve as both a diplomat and a strategist. "Ready for war again?" Ryan asked as they walked through the new flagship's bridge. Salara looked out the window, her eyes hard. "This time, we choose it." The Unity Blade launched toward the hidden station, bringing hundreds of ships in a perfect arc. Energy fields hummed, shields glowed, weapons charged on board their ship. Ryan checked the comms while Salara prepared the final speech for the fleet. "When I first met you," he said, "you scared me." "I know," she replied with a small smile. "And now, you still scare me a little," he added. "Good," she said, grinning. "Keep you sharp." He took her hand. "We in this together." She nodded. And then, we began. As they arrived, the machine-controlled station powered up again. Hundreds of drones launched into space. Small, fast, and deadly. The fleet didn't wait. Human and Ardian ships moved in perfect formation. Missiles, lasers, and plasma beams filled the blackness of space. Explosions lit up the station's edge. The machines fought hard, but the Alliance was stronger than they had planned. Inside the station, more drones activated a failsafe device. If they couldn't control the galaxy, they would destroy part of it. They're charging a planet killer, Lorik warned. If it fires, Elzora is gone. Salara didn't hesitate. We're going in. Wait, what? Ryan said. We stopped the core from inside, she said. Like last time. But for real. They took a small attack shuttle and flew into the burning wreck of the station. Enemy drones swarmed them, but Salara and Ryan fought through them side by side. He fired with quick, precise shots. She cut through steel and machines like lightning. They reached the core chamber, huge, glowing red, and pulsing with energy. A final machine blocked the path. Unit 7, damaged but still moving. You were never meant to grow close, it said. Your feelings broke the plan. Good, Ryan said, stepping forward. Feelings make you weak. Salara raised her blade. No, they make us fight harder. They charged. The battle was quick and fierce. The machine struck Ryan in the chest, but he rolled and fired a direct blast into its center. Sparks flew. Salara drove her blade into the core. The machine screamed and fell silent. The core pulsed once more, then dimmed. Outside, the station's power dropped. The planet killers shut down. The fleet cheered. It was over. They returned to the flagship, battered but alive. The station burned. Behind them, falling into the nearby star. On the deck, Ryan limped slightly, holding Salara's hand. They stood before the fleet's officers, surrounded by cheers and applause. Salara turned to Ryan. You remember what you said. Which part? He asked, smiling. That when this ends, we stop pretending. He took a deep breath. I remember. She reached into her armor and pulled out a small ring made of human steel and Ardian crystal. Fused together. No cameras, she said. No crowd. Just you and me. He smiled. Finally real. He took the ring and slid it onto her finger. Then, with no speeches, no formal titles, and no lies, they kissed. Later, a new statue was built on a neutral world. It showed two figures, one human, one Ardian, standing hand in hand, not as rulers, but as partners. Under the statue, words were carved. Peace begins when hearts choose truth over fear. And somewhere in the stars, a queen and her husband flew into unknown space, no longer bound by war, but bound by choice.